This is a tutorial video for the terrain shader I'm shipping with version 1.5.4. What we have here is a normal terrain, Unity terrain with 4 layers. The terrain shader will support 8 layers. So we've got a mass map in the last one just to show you the controls for that when I attach the shader as well. So without further ado, add the component Expanse weather terrain, and we see this little box here. Add the define, as other scripts depend on this, and then we press initialize terrain. So what we have here are the 4 layers which were in the terrain, and when we highlight these we can make changes to each of the layers. We'll forget about this bit on the top, I'll touch on that later on. We'll first go to the general terrain settings. First let's get set up some of the tiling so we can get a better idea. It's not too bad there. Obviously this is just purely for testing purposes. So there we go. So we can have the blend strength between the layers. And we've got the, actually here layer 4 we've got the mask map settings, so we can adjust the mask map settings. This will only show up if there's a mask map attached to the layer. So we go back to layer 1, normal strength. And obviously we've got a layer smoothness and we've got the layer metallic. Every parameter with an A in front, which is a toggle. If we toggle this, and whichever layers we select, they will be animated via a lerp when we start up. So for instance, if we let's crank this up a little bit high so we can see the effect. So if I now select layer 1, which is actually layer 0 but layer 1, and we press play, we should see the normal strength increasing at the speed of the global transitioning time, and that's working fine. So, and we can do the same with the smoothness and with the metallic layers. Other options we have on the train as well is we have the option for a triplanar shader, and we have the option for the stochastic shader. And these can be set as per layer. So if we want to keep layer 0 as normal and we want to put a triplanar shader on layer 1, etc, etc. So that's more or less just the normal standard terrain functions we normally have in Unity as well. So I'll now go over to the other rain, snow and the cloud map. As you probably got it, I found another little bug, so I took care of that. So we'll just continue now. So we handle the sort of general terrain settings. Now we go up to the top and we've got a couple of checkboxes here. We've got deposit snow terrain and deposit rain terrain. So whichever one we want to use the terrain for, we can enable this. Or we can enable them both and then drive whatever deposit we want to put down with the presets. So if I start with the deposit snow terrain, we can see some snow coming off, and we've got the snow settings down here, and we've got a shared rain and snow settings. So what I'll do is I'll just crank up the snow amount a little bit. And now if we go a bit closer to the terrain, and then we'll just start off with the top one here, the normal strength rain snow. So it controls the normal strength layer influence on the rain snow cover. So as the snow is lying on mainly on layer 0 here, if I enable layer 0 and I just crank up the normal strength, you can see it coming through the snow, and it's basically coming through the whole terrain on that same layer. But if I now go to the normal strength rain snow and I start cranking that up, you can see it takes it away from the snow layer, but the visible bits of the terrain will still stay, still have the influence of the normals, if that makes sense. So like I said, here we've got the normals coming through the snow, and here we've got them not. Again, this is an animatable parameter, so you can animate that during gameplay. So let's take that up to now. I'll just put in a little bit of less snow. You can see I've put a noise scale parameter in, which is the scale of the little snowdrops. I kind of like this. If people might say it looks a bit crap, then let me know and I'll see what I can do. But that's basically controlled by the scale here. Obviously we've got a snow amount. Snow opacity, what I'll do is I'll just crank up the snow amount and I'll show you the snow opacity. It doesn't appear to be doing anything. But this slider here, the snow height, this is set to the terrain height. That is automatically done by the shader. It will look at the Unity terrain and it will pick the correct terrain height. So if I start cranking this up, you'll see that the snow disappears from the lower bit. And this opacity slider does exactly what it does right here. And then we've got the same. If for instance, I go to the top, I'll take down a little bit over the top, and then we bring the opacity up again. You just get a smoother transition between the beginning and end of snow. But normally this is set to the parameter of the terrain height. Obviously then we've got the snow strength parameter. Actually I forgot to assign the textures to the snow. And we put a normal in as well. And then we see the snow normal coming in. We've got the smoothness of the snow, metallic of the snow, and it only affects the snow layer, as you can see. We've also got snow triplanar and stochastic possibility to use. And we've got the stochastic one as well. What else have we got here? Snow tint. Tint the snow. I mean, we're going on about rain and snow, but it could be sand. You could, sky's the limit. I'm calling it snow, but it could be anything. And what else have we got? The snow brightness. And obviously the snow tiling. And the snow normal strength. So it's all pretty much self-explanatory. And then we've got the feature of using a cloud map. If we look at the cloud cover we have at the moment, if I enable the cloud map, I've adapted Brad's density script to take basically a snapshot of the cloud cover, and I'm using that and I'm plugging that in to the shader, and that gives us the actual cloud cover. Now with snow, it's not very much localized very often. Snow is either there or not, but with rain you can definitely have localized rain. So this is a nice feature to have. You can see you get a gap in the clouds there, which is this gap here. And yeah, it's got its uses. And there is a sort of smooth blend, or as smooth as I can get it at the moment. As the clouds move, you can see it's blending into the new cloud map, which gets the cloud cover, which gets the snow or the rain cover. Everything I'm talking about here is exactly the same with the rain shader as well. Then we've got the angles here. If I just switch off the cloud map snow, it'll probably be a little bit easier to see. We've got the rain snow angle, and this basically controls the angle of where the snow falls. So the higher this is, snow will fall on flatter surfaces, and as you start cranking this up, it goes into the higher angles as well, into the more acute angles. I hope that makes sense. And here we just got full snow cover. Again, this is animatable, so whichever way you want to control the snowfall on the terrain, there's different options. You can do it with the rain snow angle, or you can use the snow amount. You can everything, like I said, everything with an A is animatable. So whatever settings you put in here, and if you enable the checkbox when you start up and you go into the snow with your if you set your preset to drop snow on the terrain, that's where it will lerp from 0 to that amount. And obviously, as you pick another preset without snow, it will lerp back to 0. And I will show you that in a minute. So let's do the snow amount. Because with this feature enabled, the deposit snow terrain, if I, for instance, go to the heavy snow, we've got the particle system, and in the particle system we have now the option to deposit terrain snow. So if you select that, you can use the cloud map, so it will use the cloud map and it will only drop the snow with regards to where the cloud cover is. And then we've got the snow transition. So if I now play, we should see snow transitioning into according to the cloud map cover. So if I select heavy snow, it was. And there we see the snow come in. And obviously the snow cover will adapt as the cloud map updates. It will adapt where it's actually covering. And if we then move out, if we pick the next preset, which will be cloudy, we will see that the cloud map will update as well. And the snow will disappear. So these are the new parameters which you can use now, which are added to the particle prefab. If I just nip back to the terrain, so we get the deposit snow. Obviously, it's going to do exactly the same with the rain. And we also have the option of showing where the actual cloud map is. This is the cloud map color. Snow is not falling on these bits because of the snow angle. And we also have the snow direction here. This is will be the snow biased from either side, so you can emulate the wind direction, so there'll be more snowfall on one side rather than the other. So just reset that to 0 again, and I would say let's try the same thing with a bit of rain this time. I am adjusting the rain simulation. As you can see, I need to get the. Let me just pause it while I just sort out the parameter here. Yeah, I figured out why it wasn't working, because obviously I've got the refresh is off. The auto refresh, where is it again? Always refresh. There we go. So we've got some raindrops. Let's turn the normal strength down a bit. And the puddle normal strength as well. This is something which I still need to do a little bit of work on. I've been very much focusing on the nuts and bolts behind everything. See, we've got a bit of tiling going on here, so I will be looking at that, and I will be cleaning that up. You can see we can still adjust the snow settings. Just show you the cloud map, and we can see that the rain is falling just where the cloud map is. Again, it might not be for everybody, but I think it's a nice option to have. And obviously we've got the wetness just affecting the areas where the rain is falling. If I just switch the cloud map off, it's probably a bit easier to see. There we go. So yeah, basically that's the the sort of rain shader. Tiling is a little bit off. Let's decrease it a little bit. Like I said, this is something I need to have a better look at close up to get rid of the tiling, but that's something I will tackle as soon as this update is out. So what else have we got here? We've got the standalone. I will touch on that later on as well. Let's just try something with the global particles here. Now this is again a work in progress. Basically what I've got is I've got a couple of prefabs. I've made a couple of prefabs of global particle systems, and as you add them to here, and if you click one of these, it says use standard rain particles for global effects, and it does the same for the use standard snow particles. So when you click this, this particle system will be activated. So basically what it will do is it will clone this particle system, and it will activate it when we select it. So if I go to, we're on heavy rain, let's go to the heavy rain effect. So we use the cloud map, and we enable the global rain parameter. So now if everything works as it should, where's my terrain? There's my terrain. Let's animate, let's animate the smoothness of the rain. It's always a nice one to do with a bit of metallic. So if I pick the heavy rain, there we can see the global system kicking in, and it's just falling where where the cloud map is. You can see. Like I said, this definitely needs a little bit of TLC. Maybe you want to have a go yourself. These are just normal particle systems. I've had a go at the VFX. I need to revisit that again as well. But yeah, it gives you a general idea of what is possible, what is there. So as we move around, obviously we've got a full cloud cover because of the heavy rain now. So we haven't got a lot of gaps in the clouds. I can maybe just simulate a little bit by taking the cloud cover down a bit. And then we should get the cloud map to update. Actually, there is the option on the terrain here. You said the cloud map update in seconds. So every 20 seconds it updates the cloud map. This is obviously something you can set a far shorter time, but now we can see the rain is only falling again on where the cloud map is. And this is exactly the same for the snow as well. There's no difference there. It's a similar mechanism which I've used. So before I bore everybody to death, I'll just move on from this. And then we have the standalone snow or standalone rain shaders. So if I just bring this down, this is something I need to tidy up as well. That when you switch off the rain or when you switch off the snow, that it takes away all the parameters. I just need to have a look into that. I'm running a bit short of time at the moment. So back to basics. So if we just want to use a standalone rain or snow terrain, so let's go for the snow this time. Global particle snow. Use the cloud map standalone, so we can use a cloud map as well. We can have a look at the resolution here of the the cloud map resolution. You can 64 by 64, 128, 256, 512. Self-explanatory, really. And the cloud map update, I already told you about the rate at which the cloud map updates. And then when we've got the standalone snow terrain, now I believe if I press play, we should get snow appearing again, the global particle system. Again, just falling on those bits which are covered by the clouds. I thought it's a nice one to have if you don't really necessarily want to use the weather presets, that you can just use the standalone snow and then just control the cover for the cloud map. So if we go down a little bit, let's turn the and we can see the cloud map updating and the snow is changing accordingly. There's probably still a few bugs here and there, and it'll probably take a little while to get used to the options available. But yeah, I hope that I've covered most of the things. One thing to look at or to keep in mind when you initialize the terrain and you, for instance, initialize the rain and it's mainly with the rain, is because I'm using in the shader, I'm using a time node, and if it doesn't find the raindrop normal, or it doesn't find the puddle normal, you get some really groovy things going on. The black screen basically like this, and that's because the texture is not. It cannot find the texture. You did see a flash of the animation going across there, and it's the same with this. But if I add the and this texture will be packed as well. That's the from the Polytoots. Everybody knows Polytoots probably from one of their tutorials. And that's basically what I've used in the shader as well. So I hope it's sort of helped you along a little bit, and I'm going to sign off now because I just heard that my dinner is ready. Thanks, folks.